Hi, and welcome to today's podcast. My name is Fiona, a data scientist at Digital for Africa, and I will let the others introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Caleb. I'm operations and web developer at Digital for Africa.
Brian Wamiori, tech lead.
Awesome. So now that you know the people in the room, we can start this off. So something to just get us going. What?
I have an idea for an icebreaker.
Yeah.
What's your favorite song this year?
Mhm.
My favorite song being a Gen Z was
No judgment.
we said we don't judge.
That's true.
It's a trending thing anyway. I think my favorite song this year was definitely something in the Albertone.
Say the song and the artist.
The name.
Don't go around it.
It has to be Kudade. Unaduela.
Never heard of it.
I'll
play that
as a Gen Z.
We'll play it later. What's your favorite song this year?
I don't have one. I have several.
Okay, so which one comes to mind?
The latest. I'll start with the most recent. Chikwere. BN.
When did that come out? Yesterday?
No.
Last night.
Last year. 1 year old.
I've said this year. Favorite song
Oh,
this year.
this year. That was last year. This year. Lazima ikuwe imetoka hii this year.
This year, between January and now.
I would say Nyashinsky.
Nyashinsky?
Which
one?
Which one?
I can't remember.
It's not a favorite song. It's not your favorite song.
I don't know. It's not this year, Basi. Yeah, my favorite songs are not from this year.
So you've not had you can listen to hers.
Could I do?
For me,
Mm-hmm.
it's Yani, Kifo cha Mende. I think I've listened to that song on repeat. At first when I heard it, was like, how does this make sense? The lyrics don't make sense.
Yeah.
But now I'm listening to it on repeat. Yeah.
Okay.
I think as you can also see, these two joints are in black. I did not get this memo, so perhaps why you put in black?
I was inspired by black. he has black from Monday to Friday.
But black is easy to manage. No ironing, less laundry. If I were wearing white shirts every day, you have to make sure every stain goes away.
Yeah.
But black is tumbukiza, toa, anika, wear. Life is very easy.
So yeah.
So that's it.
Yeah, because he has.
Yeah.
All right. Onto the topic of study. So perhaps I can pose a question to the two of you. You are in. Brian is our tech lead, and Caleb is our operations expert. So perhaps in the last 1 week, or even in the last 1 year, what's something very interesting or exciting that you did not expect to know, it just surprised you to happen to know in your field?
Can I start?
Yeah, go ahead.
For me, I think the evolution of AI in the year has been interesting. Just like 2 months ago, Google launched their image AI generator called ImageFX. Since I played with that thing, it's Midjourney, you have to go to a lot of steps before you generate the image. But now with ImageFX, you just do the prompt, it generates the images for you, and at least it's more realistic. So that's one thing that has happened this year. I think the evolution of AI, with even Gemini 2 point something coming out, and the LMSs that has been happening around. That's one. Secondly, I think the exciting thing is completing a project. When you start a project and then you're able to complete it in good time, that's a good thing. That's an exciting aspect when you're able to say that the timelines are 3 months, and within the 3 months you have completed the project. Apart from that, last but not least is team growth. This year, I think in the company we have had teams coming in and going out. So the team growth has allowed me as part of the lead to be able to learn from different people and to be able to be more empathetic with people, to be more understanding, to be more firm sometimes with people. And yeah, those are some of the exciting things that have happened this year.
Perhaps I can ask you about the image effects from Google.
Mm.
How different is it from what we already know? For example, Gemini, you can know that it does generate images. How different is it from what you have already experienced in the image generating?
I think there's not much difference to it. The aspect of it is that the way it has been evolving, because I remember the first time with Mid Journey that AI was generating images. You'd get 5 fingers, 7 fingers within one image. You'd get the face looks kind of funny, and and then seeing now the evolution within 1 year is quite imaginative. And the fact that you do not have to write a very huge prompt for you to generate an image. In fact, I think we can do it live in one of the sessions whereby we just give it a prompt. A young man working in Nairobi who wears black from Monday to Friday, and we see what it will generate. Yes, yes, yes. But it's the exciting bit about it is how fast it's growing, how simple it's becoming, and how now it's become like a in how I'd say vital point in any business operation. Yes.
Awesome. That's super interesting.
Yeah.
Brian, what did you find surprising?
Let me split that question into two. I know you want to push me towards tech, but I'll push you towards my social life as well. So, non-tech related, the greatest thing I've learned this year is Wing Chun. Wing Chun is a type of martial art. It's a branch of Kung Fu. So I've started that and I really like it. But going back to tech, I think I've gone back to the fundamentals. What has really come out this year clearly for me is the more you test, the more you launch, the more you iterate, the better. Most of the time, we actually wait for the perfect product. We wait for the perfect opportunity. We wait for so many things to align as opposed to try to dish out and launch and just test something. Test something with consumers and test as many things as possible with consumers. So the number one thing that I've learned is, or rather relearning again or remembering again, is test as much as possible. Be an implementer more than you can be a storyteller, or be an implementer more than you can be an analyst. There's something we usually say with Francis over and over again. You can analyze until you're paralyzed. Yeah. Analysis, paralysis. So we avoid that moving forward. It's something that's coming more vividly and more clearly into my mind. And that's something definitely I'll do in the coming year. Launch more, get it out as quickly as possible.
So unlearn, relearn, back to basics. Don't be afraid to test.
Exactly.
Right. So on to this week's topic of discussion. So we are launching this on the second last week of 2024. So it will be a good time to do a recap. So we can go back to Kenya. In the year 2024, what has been the most challenging or exciting thing that has happened, either in your personal life, tech, and business?
I'll say so. Personally, challenging was losing my grandmother during the year. In a loss is usually a big loss, and navigating that. Another challenging aspect about this year has been finances. You hear it left, right, and center. Clients, finances, home finances, job finances. Like I don't know what happened to the economy this past year, but it seems cash flow wasn't as much as we anticipated. Then there was the mandamano that happened. So that was also challenging, seeing young people being killed over and over again, and seeing lives young being lost. One of the exciting things, I think, as a country, we have seen a generation that has come woke. We have now people who have a voice, and it's good that that came out this year. Exciting thing, I think I'll also go back to the first question. When you see things moving forward and not backward, that's always exciting. So when I see projects being done, when I see things happening, that's always exciting. And I think, yeah, one of my close friends bought a car this year. Yeah, it's a car I've driven until I'm like, very soon it's about to be mine. So yeah, so it's been an interesting year, I'd say. And yeah, I'm happy for where we are personally as a person. I know there is much to be done in the coming year, but I'm glad for the year, and it's been an year with ups and downs. That's the conclusion here.
Right. I think something that has really come out strongly with what you said is completion of projects, something that makes you excited.
Yeah.
So, what was the most interesting project that you completed this year? What were the challenges, if at all, and how did you overcome?
The most interesting was one of our clients. They are in the uh, gender equality space, and they deal with transportation industry. So they advocate for women in transport industry. So what was challenging about that project is, number one, the lead changed midway. So the project lead, the person who was leading, when it was like midway, the person had some challenges, so he had to step from that project. Being the operations, I had to step in, right? Then from the tech team, there was like 2 3 weeks where people walikuwa wameshikwa na maugonjwa, people not reachable, and it was challenging to manage that project and other projects at the same time for that particular period. That was the challenging bit. But what I think was exciting about it, remember there was a week where Brian was sick for the entire week. When he came back now on board, right? Even the client themselves said it. They said that, what? I felt as if my project was stalling. But once Brian came back, yeah, things started moving, So, and we were able to complete that project in the set duration of time. I think that was it. So the challenge was having now there was a lot of moving parts. It wasn't like a project where we started and finished. So there was people coming in, people going out, and whatnot. And then also, I think this should be said somewhere. If 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 we are doing a project, or if you are a potential customer coming to do a project with us, we should have, before we even start the project, and I'm sure this cuts across not only in the dev space. Most people think that because I've paid you for a service, because I'm giving you this project, you're the one to do everything, right? You are the one to come up with the business idea for that person. You're the one to create the captions, the copy, landing pages. Yes, we can do that, right? It's part of the process. But if it's part of the process, let's discuss it at the very initial stage. Not that we have already done the proposal, we've already done the quotation, we have already started the project, and then in between the project, we come to discover that, Allah, what? So you don't even have an idea of this. This is not yet set, and now that tends to prolong the project period, or prolong the time, because now we'll have to like wait for you to give us something, for us to do something. So I'd say our desire would be to get to a point whereby, as Brian said earlier on, don't over get to the paralysis stage. So if something needs to be done, no matter whether it's us who's doing it or the client or whoever, let's get it done and let's launch it.
Yeah. All right. So to those watching, especially those who are in a position such as yours in management, things need to happen, things may not be happening. What would you tell them so that if at all they find themselves in the same situation, what would you tell them so that they can be able to move from that?
I think be kind on yourself. That's one thing. Sometimes when you're a lead, or when you're leading a team, sometimes you get to a place and let's say I'll give an example. A client wants something delivered tomorrow, right? There's a person responsible for delivering that thing tomorrow, right? We are all human beings. Let's say for bad chance that person falls ill. So if they are ill, they are not able to deliver it tomorrow. So as the team lead, sometimes you or as the person in operations, you tend to want to do that action, or you want to take it up upon yourself. Sometimes because it's last minute, you might end up dropping a few balls in there. So what I'd say to someone in my position or someone in a leadership position, sometimes be kind to yourself. And then number two, be open in communication. Communicate things as they are. If something will not be able to be delivered tomorrow, just say it. This will not be delivered tomorrow because of this and this, and then reset a reliable and actionable timeline. Yeah.
Awesome. Over to you, Brian.
Yes,
sir.
We want you to answer the questions you ask.
she's cruising by. I think you can answer and then she'll answer the last.
No, she goes fast.
No.
She goes fast.
Brian will take over this. And you are the host. Anyway,
It's been a good year. I know if you look back, every year has its lessons, every year has its challenges, and every year has its victories. If you just do the summary in total, but I can generally say it's been a good year. That does not mean we've achieved financial freedom. That does not mean we have the clients we want or we are at the situation where we want. Generally, I'm just appreciative of the lessons that we've gone through and all the good things that have happened within the year. Probably one of the main takeaways that I have from this year is never say never. I think before the Mandamanos, we always told ourselves that Kenya is a specific way. We know our country to be in a specific way. When you go to government, things are slow. When you go to the police, they are corrupt. When you go to the roads, everyone is insulting the other. When you go to politicians, everyone is after their own interests. But we saw there can be a shift. There can be a shift from Kenya being tribal to Kenya actually being to being one country and moving in the same direction. There can be a shift from the old to the new, even in terms of leadership. So in a way, that also gives me hope. So some of the things that we felt ziko vile ziko, what we call the status quo, I have that hope in me that things can change for the better. Anything can change technically, excuse me, for the better. So this year generally has given me a lot of hope for the future, where we are headed, especially with our young people. Yes, I am part of that group, by the way.
Gen Z.
I'm considered a Gen Z as much as I'm not a Gen Z. But that aside, I believe the future will be better. 2025 will be better. And by the time now going into 2025, 2030, as much as it's been called a vision 2030 so much for the last so many years, it's even closer. And it shall come a time when that will be the current time. Yeah.
Let me clarify. Any particular challenge in particular, like that stood out, and how you solved it?
I usually forget challenges very quickly.
Then any exciting thing that you can like pinpoint over the year?
Nothing comes to mind, honestly. But if something does come to mind, I'll definitely say it. Yeah, nothing comes to mind.
Okay. So now that I was put on the spot to answer the questions that I'm asking, actually what I had in mind in terms of something so amazing I've seen this year is in line with what Brian has said about Mandamano. It was something very interesting to see. And for me, seated from a data perspective, the amount of information that was generated and gathered was insane. I remember there's this particular person who created a website about, he gathered the promises that the government had made and if they'd been delivered, delivery timelines and whatnot. That was amazing. It taught me that with data, especially data science, even with everything that we do, it doesn't have to be so business oriented or so serious. You can also apply it in your social settings, everything that you do in your everyday life. So data is generated. You can gather it, analyze it however you want to, whatever kind of information. So for me, it really brought out the aspect of whatever you're learning, even if you're doing it in your business, you can also apply it in social settings. It's not just we're here, we have a client, we need to deliver, we get paid, story over. You can also do something for yourself with the skills that you have to be able to help yourself, the people around you to become better. And for me, that was awesome.
Yeah. Earlier this year, I went to a networking event, and I remember one of the things that stood out was the mentalities that different people have. So I went to a restaurant where they charge $1,000 a night, or $1,000 a night.
Some might consider that cheap, others expensive.
Yes. So someone is asking themselves, there's someone who's thinking, I'm in the wrong place. How dare they charge $1,000 a night? Someone else is asking, how can I own such a facility? Two different mentalities, same room, same table. So it was an eye-opening just to see how you set your mind can actually lead, can be the trajectory for your life. So seeing how different people think and trying to phrase my thoughts in the right way is something also I've taken away from this year.
And not particularly interesting. So, what do you think you can maybe say about how someone can maybe reshape their mindset? I think, very honestly, right off the bat, I would be the person who would be like, oh, how am I going to pay this $1,000? You may be seated in the seat of how can I be at the person at the top where people are coming to pay $1,000? So how can I reshape my mindset to come over to this?
One of the things that I think is important to do is track your thoughts. You'd find that someone who has a lot of negative thoughts never realizes they have a lot of negative thoughts. They just think that's the way life is. So one of the things that I've come to appreciate is kind of do more or less an analysis. An analysis of what have I been thinking over the last hour or the last day. And you'd find, hey, by the way, I'm always morbid. I'm always thinking about bad things. Then you ask yourself, okay, fine. What are the good things I've actually thought about? Or what are the things that are good in my life that I can start thinking about more and appreciate more? I think that bit of tracking has really helped, because whenever I have negativity in my life or I have negative thoughts, I quickly track it. It's the same way someone who's vulgar, who curses a lot. Sometimes they don't even know they're cursing, but you who has never heard the curses, you're like, hey, come slowly. So once they identify, oh, by the way, that was a curse, that was a curse, that was a curse, then they start being conscious about it. It becomes easy to overcome it. So same thing with negative thoughts, same thing with negativity in general. Track it, then you will find out it will be easier for you to do less of it. Then cultivate what is positive. Yeah.
Awesome. Guys are as the Gen Z in the room, I'm learning quite a lot as we're doing this. So is there anything more to add? Because in 2024, we're doing a wrap up. Everyone's doing a wrap up. Spotify, Netflix, all that, all that. So before we get to what we can wrap up about 2024 that we can actionably put into 2025, is there anything else that you would want to say?
There is an element of lack of control that we have over the future. I bet all of us had some sort of resolution when you're starting the year. And when you look back at the track record, I remember when you were doing that last week, you're like, was that me?
Yeah.
We tend to be optimistic, and that's a good thing. And let's continue being optimistic. But
Yeah.
also, what I'm trying to bring out is we don't have control over a lot of things. You don't have control over your health. Well, in an extent you do, but there are things that can happen that are out of your control. That's the point.
Yeah.
So I've gotten to the point in my life where I appreciate that aspect. The things which are out of my control, and I don't need to overthink about them. So that being said, achia Mungu. Achia Mungu, because we overplan. We say we will lose so much weight, we will learn so much. Because I remember when we were doing the overview as a team, everyone had a course they wanted to learn. But everyone reached day 3 or day 5 out of 100.
Of course.
So that again will repeat itself next year. So I think there's some certain things, yes, we believe that are in our control, but the truth is they're not. So we just cut ourselves some slack, tuachie Mungu, we hope for the best. And of course, we keep working hard.
Yeah, but you keep working hard. That's what I wanted to add. Because there are people who would take that verbatimly, and someone will wake up at 12 and say, I have no control.
We'll do that on Sunday.
I
think not really, but just say one thing I've learned about. By the way, this year I've tracked my budget. It was crazy to see where money goes.
Where does your money go? Tell us.
Nah, that's topic for another day. Like we can sit down and discuss. There's a difference between being salaried, being the person behind the one controlling the salaries, being also now. I always tell Brian and the team, if I wasn't into digital marketing, or I wasn't doing what I had, I'd be in the finance. Because it's interesting to say that so this is what has been happening in finances. So this year I've been tracking like my expenditure. So it's quite interesting to also see that how I've been able to pinpoint. There are those two habits that you. So one thing I've learned about myself is I'm spontaneous to some extent, right? It's sometimes good and it's sometimes bad. So
that means your girlfriend is the exact opposite.
Exactly. That's very true. Yeah, she'll be like,
why did you advance?
Why did you spend this on this? And me, I'll be like, we needed this, so we had to spend it and whatnot. But interestingly, I'd say from being able to say that, okay, this is what I'm working with this month. This goes to rent, this goes to this goes to this, this goes to the savings account and whatnot. I've learned to appreciate the fact that there are things we usually say that are wants that are usually not wants. There are things you can say you'll do without, and you'll do without, because there are months I've realized I've gone beyond my budget double, right? You can see it in your budget, like hii mwezi ilifika hapa, but the following month ilikuwa double, and then there are months, so that means the next month you have to really adjust to accommodate that. And that shift, seeing it on an Excel is different than not knowing. So yeah, that was interesting.